call Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, the Select Committee did have robust discussions, and it is a hard-working Select Committee, which I think is developing its own standard for the quality of baking, which may at some point become a publishable standard. And but I would point out, and I'm sure the members on the other side of the House know quite clearly that that the Labor Party got to the end of this process and could not support this bill. And this is one of those unusual situations in a Select Committee where you go into sitting and hearing the submissions, you don't feel that it's a particularly controversial bill, and your ears are open, you're open to everything that's being said, but the more that you hear from the submitters, the more concerned you become, and you get to the point, which is what the Labor members did, Mr Speaker, you get to the point where you just can't support the bill as it stands, even with the amendments. And I would describe those amendments as being very once-over lightly amendments. I would have liked to have heard from the Minister in his opening remarks today about what further amendments he might think would be appropriate given his review of the progress of this bill before the House and the fact that he had now had the chance to have a think about it. And I would make the point, Mr Speaker, that it is a clear sign of an out-of-touch government and of arrogance when, when you have submitter after submitter after submitter coming before a Select Committee and saying there is something fundamentally wrong with this bill, please listen. And let me read you, and these are organisations that represent thousands of members working in professions such as the Institute of Professional Engineers, Consulting Engineers, Incorporated Architects, Public Works Engineers, and the New Zealand Building Industry Federation, Mr Speaker, who said, quote, standard setting should not be subject to direct political influence by the government of the day. And that is the crux of the problem in this bill, is that it's the lack of independence, perceived or otherwise, by putting such an important function of democracy, standard setting, inside a massive government agency, a massive government department, while appearing to give it independence. And I'm not saying that there wasn't an attempt to try and provide independent governance, but the mere fact that the standard setting body has been absorbed into a government department is the fundamental issue in this bill. And I think that is really what we're talking about today, is that that the submitters and the Labor Party, and I hope other parties in this House, realised that this was actually a backward step, and that you've got to ask yourself what lies behind it. What is the reasoning? Well, fundamentally, the reasoning is cost cutting. And if you're there is no other demonstrable...
I'm sorry to interrupt the member. The time has come for me to leave the chair for the dinner break.
Just getting wound up.
The House is adjourned until 7:30 p.m.